Hey guys, how's it going? So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about images, specifically ones that are not yours and how to do it the right way versus the wrong way. So, let's say we have to go ahead and create something. It could be anything really, but let's say you need to create a poster for, I don't know, uh, traveling to Egypt, right? And you need to put a camel in it. And, in a perfect world, you go out and you use either all of your own photographs or you have a private photographer that you can go and send to get all your photographs for. So that way, everything that goes in the portfolio is absolutely yours. But unfortunately, most people don't have a camel in their backyard, and we don't really have a zoo close to us for us to go get one. So, or not get a camel, we get a picture of one. So what we rely on a lot of times is the internet, and there's right ways and wrong ways to do it. So let's start with the wrong way, and this is the way that people kind of do it sometimes. So they'll go to Google and they'll type in camel, and they'll go to images, and they'll go to tools, and they'll say size, and they know they need a big picture, right? Because it's graphics, and then they'll go ahead and they'll say like, okay, yeah, that's a great looking camel, or I like that camel, that's a crazy one. But yeah, they'll find a camel, right? Here we go, 1300 by 1600 pixels, and they'll view the image, and it may not work because I'm doing a demo. Of course not. But so let's try this one then. So 1280 by 1024 pixels per inch. Let's view that one. Ooh, that doesn't want to work either. That's okay, right? So anyway, they'll go ahead and they'll find these pictures. And this is a nice one. This is one that people would really like because it's a PNG and it's already cut out, right? So they find these pictures, and then they take them and they drag them into Photoshop, and then they start doing stuff to them. And on the surface, this looks okay, right? Let's throw the ethics out of the way. But just on the surface, it looks okay. And if I go to view and I go to 100%, well, oh wait, it didn't do anything because it's already at 100% if you see this here. So what does that mean? That means if I go to image and image size, that this thing is, again, 1087 pixels by 870 pixels. That makes it 15 inches by 12 inches, but at a resolution of 72 pixels per inch. Oh, so if we were to go ahead and change that to 300 pixels per inch, what we usually use for print output, now we're looking at 3.6 by 2.9. So it's an itty bitty camel. And if I go ahead and I zoom in, look at that. See that pixelation that's going on there? That is not good. So let's, we kind of want to think about that to a point, just going to, Google and grabbing something. Because the thing is that while it appears like it's quite all right on screen, when you go to print that, it's going to be garbage. Now, secondly, let's talk about the ethics behind it. That's just not a good thing to do. Because essentially, you're going to take something like this and you're going to toss it in your portfolio, and essentially, you're taking somebody else's stuff. So that's just not cool. So instead, what we tend to use is this stuff that's called stock art. Specifically, a lot of times, designers use what's called stock photography. And stock is just what it says. It is created to basically be used by anybody, and there's all sorts of it. It's not created for one specific purpose. It's just extra photos that photographers take. And it's actually a business. You could get into it yourself if you want to. Personally, I have not done that, but I have known people who have. I used to work with a professional Getty photographer who that was his job. He traveled the world and he took stock images. He never was given an assignment to go take specifically a picture of a camel, but he would go to Egypt, for example. He would take pictures of pyramids and camels and the desert and like hills in the desert and sunsets and everything you can kind of imagine when you think about Egypt, tombs, all that sort of stuff. He took all sorts of pictures like that. Or he would go to the Alps and he would take pictures of the mountains and the sunrise over the mountains and people skiing and all that sort of stuff. and he sold that to Getty, and Getty then sells it to other people. So the way to do this is instead to search for stock photography websites. And if you just go ahead and you say stock photos, you get a whole bunch of stuff, right? And there are many, many places. And I'm just going to show you a few, okay? So there's this one called Adobe Stock. And there are tons of high quality images, graphics, and videos here. Let's look for a camel. Okay, lots and lots of camels. Now, so we have all sorts of pictures of camels. We even have ones that have been cut out for us automatically, so we don't have to do it. We have ones with, crazy pyramids behind them, ones with like what appears to be like oasis skies behind them, all sorts of ones. So let's say we like this one right here. Let's click on it, okay? So we have licenses that we have to be aware of. So an extended license is $79.99. So for $80, you can buy this, right? And a standard license, let's see what we have. Okay, so you can buy a monthly subscription or you can buy an annual subscription. So the monthly subscription, it's $30 a month. Annual is, and that's cancel anytime. You get 3 assets a month. And then additional assets are $10. And you can roll over up to 36 assets with renewal. If you buy the year, you get 10 assets a month. First month's free, then $30 a month. Additional standard assets at $2.99. So okay, so you get $10, 10 of them a month, $30. You're paying $3 an image, okay? And then additional ones are another $3. So for a year, you're going to pay $360, and you're going to get 120 images. Not awful, not a bad price, not the best price either. But it's a thing. It's an okay price. Just to get a sense, this is a JPEG, and this is 4721 by 2907. Just to get a sense, right, how big that is. Because we don't really think about, don't worry about like the actual resolution. Don't worry about 72 pixels per inch or 300 pixels per inch or anything like that. Just think of the dimensions, right? So if we take 4721 and we divide it by 300 for 300 pixels per inch, that means that that's going to be 15.73666 to the higher power inches wide, right? By about almost 10 inches tall. That whole image there. Well, that's great. Well, how big is our camel if you think about it? Like most of that's that empty stuff. Okay, so maybe that's not the best image for us. Maybe this would be a better one, right? Okay, and how big is that? Again, don't worry about resolutions so much. Just worry about the dimensions in the file size. So 4928 divided by 300, that is going to be 16.4, right? So that whole rectangle right there, 16.4. It's safe to say our camel is probably about 11 or 12 inches wide if we're talking about 300 pixels per inch. That's a decent size, and that could work out really well. So something like Adobe Stock is kind of cool because it allows you to do that. Now, what's the difference in standard licenses and extended licenses? Essentially, standard licenses give you less. All right, I take that back. Extended licenses give you the ability to do absolutely anything with it, and you don't have to worry about royalties, and you don't have to worry about how you use it or where you're using it or anything like that. Standard licenses may allow you to use it for certain things, but not other things. And every license is going to be a little bit different. So let's learn more about them a little bit. Learn about licensing. And here's the thing, too. So with a standard license, you may not create more than 500,000 copies of the image in print, digital downloads, or broadcasting for more than 500,000 viewers. Now, okay, cool. what does that mean? That means that if you create something and it's going to go in a portfolio for the $3, totally cool, right? But if you're going to create something, and what if it becomes a national ad or an international ad or something like that? That might go out 500,000 copies in print before you realize it. Or it could be broadcasted to more than 500,000 viewers before you realize it. Here's the other thing, too. Standard licenses will not allow you to create products for resale where the main value of product is the image itself. So, like, you can use it as an asset that's not your focal point, right? And if you think about it, all stock photography should be this. It really should. For us anyway, for creative people. Are there places that use stock photography and they make, or stock imagery in general, and they make it the focal point? Yes, I have seen it a bunch. You have seen it a bunch. You just may not recognize it. I look out for this stuff, and and it's not just photos, it's illustrations, it's video clips, it's audio clips. I hear a lot of the same things and see a lot of the same things a lot. And sometimes people do not follow the standard license, or maybe they bought the extended license, because basically it gives you the ability to do whatever you want. There's no restrictions. And that's why it costs $80 instead of $3. Now that's just Adobe stock, okay? So let's go ahead and let's look at another one. Shutterstock. Okay, let's find camels here. Camel. Great. So here's a camel. It's isolated on a white background. Let's click on it. Let's get some info on it, right? All right. So, yeah, I want to download this, and it wants me to create an account. I don't have an account with Shutterstock, or at least if I do, I don't remember it. So I'm going to hit download. Okay, it doesn't allow me to do that. Can I download a preview? Can I figure out how much this thing costs? I have to create an account. Okay. Well, I'm not going to create an account. Let's go to the main page here and let's see if I can get a little bit information here. Here we are. Okay. Royalty-free images, simple pricing. So on demand, okay? So standard license, we have a sense of what that's about, right? And we can look at their things about it. So standard license, no time limit, up to 500,000, right? Production budgets up to $1,000 or $10,000, and legal indemnification about $10,000 per image, right? Enhanced, it just takes a lot of that stuff away. So copies of merchandise, copies of web. So yeah, standard license is less than, it basically is less stuff. So let's see. On demand, right? That's when you only want one or two things. So 2 images, $30. $15 an image if you're going to buy 2. 5 images, $50. Now it's down to 10. 25 image, $229, right? So the more you buy, the more kind of tokens, if you would, for each image you buy, the cheaper it is. If you buy subscriptions, right? You can buy things annually or monthly, right? So you can go ahead and have, monthly. You can buy 10 images a month, pay per month, and it's $50 a month. If you have a year contract, those same 10 images are $30 a month. A lot of these things, they want you to have a subscription because that's where they make the money. Because I will tell you what, guys, I have in numerous times have had subscriptions to websites like this, and it's one of those things where if you're using it every day, then great, yeah, subscriptions are totally the way to go. But if you're not using it every day and you're only going to use it here or there, then they make money on you because you're not downloading their images. So the only way a subscription really works, in my opinion, is if it's unlimited, and that if you're going to go on every day and you're going to download, as many images as you can. Or even if it's monthly or something like that, if you're just going to make sure you download your 10 images. Again, here, annual, 10 images, $30, $3 per image. So it's right up there with Adobe's. Okay, let's check out another one. Veer.com. Ooh, Veer might not exist anymore. Veer stock photos, Veer stock images, they were actually purchased by Shutterstock. So that's why I can't find them. Okay. But here's another one, iStockphoto.com. This one is a consumer plan for Getty images. And I'm going to get to Getty in a few minutes, but let's go ahead and let's find our camel here. Okay. Great. I like it. It's on a white background. It's going to be easy for me to grab. So I'm going to select it. Now let's find out how much this costs. And I have no idea because the website doesn't really work very well. There's that thing right there. Cool. Okay, yeah. And looks like I'm going to have to stretch this website crazy off to the side here. Aha, here we are. This is a bad website. $12 for this image, or $4 with a 10-month or 10 image month subscription for $40. So this is more expensive, all right? So if I just want to buy the single image, it's $12. If I want the subscription, then this camel is going to cost me $4. So I don't know. It looks kind of like the other camels I saw before. Yeah, it's on a white background. That's kind of cool. But that's kind of lame, you know? How do they do that? Why do they do that? You know, how are they making money? Well, again, these guys are owned by Getty Images. Let me show you Getty Images. And let's bring our window back. Getty Images. So, Getty is the stock photography for, you know, everything happening in the world. Absolutely happening in the world. So let's go ahead and look for a camel. And here we are. Let's see. We got a bunch of camel pictures here. Ooh, look at that one. Nice. Camel at the beach. Let's check out that guy. Okay. So, here's the difference between all those ones I showed you and Getty, right? Large image, 5,676 pixels by 3,789 pixels, or 18.92 by 12.6 inches at 300 dpi, $575. Or just $475 if we pay for an ultra pack. Whoa. Let's check out how much an extra small costs. $50. Again, one image, $50. That's going to be a super small image. You're hardly going to be able to do anything with it in print. Actually, there's no hardly. You're just not going to be able to do anything with it in print. Large image, something this is necessary for print. It's $575. Who uses these folks? Huge design firms, huge marketing firms. That's who uses Getty. The people that are doing international advertising are using Getty. And it's because their photographers are literally everywhere. And they are on site at every event. So like the moment that Michael Phelps won an Olympic medal, flash, 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 you saw all the photographers on the television. And within like 12 minutes, bam, you could buy a picture of it on the internet if you wanted. And so Coca-Cola or McDonald's or any of those sponsors of the Olympics who have Michael Phelps as one of their kind of, you know, spokespeople could go ahead and buy the image of it and then create the ad and get it out there to be, you know, seen, you know, within 24 hours by, you know, the world. And that's powerful to be able to do that. And that's why you pay so much for an image. You guys are college kids though. And, you know, it's like, if I'm going to be stereotypical, you're poor college kids, right? You got no money. $575 is a lot of money for you. And it's a lot of money for me too. And I'm not going to pay $575 for an image. That's why I take my own images when I can. And when I can't, I have friends and I pay them, but I don't pay them $575. Or I find other places like free stock photography. And if I go ahead and I Google free stock photography, I'm going to get a bunch of stuff. I'm going to get a bunch of stuff that I don't even like know. I'm not going to lie. I don't Google free stock photography a ton anymore because I just got a few places, which I'll show you in a few minutes. But like, look at this, Pexels.com. Okay, camel. All right. First thing I notice is this. The photos aren't as good as the other ones. Okay? They're just not. So I'm going to click on this. And you know what? It's free. So that's kind of cool. And while I don't love that camel, I could maybe make it work, you know, and I could download it, the original size, and that's 5,472 pixels by 3,648. So remember that, 5472. Let's pull out our little calculator. 5472 divided by 300, 18 inches wide. Okay. So, you know, Anthony is the person who created this, or excuse me, who took this and uploaded it, right? He gave us a pretty big file. Here's some similar photos. Hey, that's a pretty good lion, right? And 4,500 or 4,252 divided by 300, 14 inches wide. Okay, if we think about the line's about half of that, so that lion head is about 7 inches wide at 300 pixels per inch. Let's download one. And this is a, let's take a look at it in Photoshop so we can zoom in. Let's go to view 100%. Look at that. That is pretty awesome. For free, you know, to be able to use in your images in your portfolio, right? I don't know about you. I do not have a lion in my backyard. I just don't. So if I need a picture of a lion, I need to go to a place like this because I can't afford Getty's prices. Now, this is through a company called Pexels. Is most likely either they're owned or they're they're subsidized by a company called Graphic Stock. I've used Graphic Stock before. They're pretty good too. But again, you pay for them. But Pexels here, I just found this actually about 2-3 weeks ago, and I've liked what I found on it. You just don't see nearly as much as you do in when you're essentially when you're at like the bigger places. You just don't see the amount of photos or the quality of photos. And nothing against Anthony, his picture of his camel here because it rocks and I could use it. I totally could. It's just you just don't see the amount of camels on this site as you did on the other ones, right? Because it's free. Now, how does Anthony make out on this, right? If you're wondering that, like, why is Anthony giving away his photos, right? Well, Anthony is a photographer, and he probably wants to do this. He probably wants to sell some photos. So what he's got to do is he's got to prove himself. So he's got to go ahead and give a bunch away. And that kind of sucks, but it's kind of the way the business works. So he's got to give some away. He's got to prove that, people have downloaded it because every single download can get tracked, right? So we can go ahead and we can look for things there. All right, let's find another place. This is a place that I enjoy. I check out pretty often. It's called unsplash.com. And free, do whatever you want, high-res photos, okay? And you can subscribe to an email, and they'll send you an email every single week, and there you go. And there's all sorts of stuff. Let's do the search. Camel. Okay, cool. Hey, look at these guys. They're just kind of having a good time, right? Let's download it. Drag into Photoshop. Let's get some sizes on this. View 100%. Bam. Okay. Pretty good. Not bad at all. I love these camels right now. This one is telling this one a joke, and he does not think that it's funny. But this guy here can't get the joke out without laughing. He's like Jimmy Fallon. It's awesome. So, the thing is that like this website here, Unsplash, it's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. I use it a lot. So check it out. Let's find out some more camels. Okay. 13 photos, 21 collections, 2 users. Okay. This is a cool image. Look at that. That's a really cool image. Do whatever you want with that image. Per the do anything you want with this. This is an iconic looking image. If you think about the desert, you think about camels and people going across the desert, check this out. This is like, the sun either rising or setting, and it's going right over this hill, and there's this caravan, and it's what you expect, people riding the camels, a couple of people pulling them. That is an awesome image. That's on the Sahara Desert, right, in Morocco, and like, that's great. That's just fabulous, and it's free. It's great. All right, where's another place to get some free photos? You may have heard of this place before, Flickr, right? Flickr is a website where you can go ahead and you can find all sorts of pictures. You can post your own stuff up here. It's just basically a photo community, right? But what we can do is we can look for the Flickr Creative Commons. The Creative Commons essentially is a really cool thing. Rather than doing traditional copyright, people, this is an alternative to that, to full copyright. So they have all different kinds of licensing here, right? And they give you some, kind of ground rules. There's attribution license, which means you can use it, but you got to go ahead and give people credit, basically. There's non-commercial, which means you can use it, but you can't make money on it. There's no derivatives, which means you can use it, but it's got to be verbatim. You can't change it. Share alike means whatever you do, you got to go ahead and distribute it to. Public domain means that you waive your interest in the work and you throw it out there completely. And there's all sorts of images that we have here. But so the attribution license has 67 million photos in it. Wow. Okay, so let's just go and see some more of those. And let's search camel. And search. And all sorts of camels, right? And so you might say, well, this one doesn't work. You know why? Because he's obviously in a zoo of sorts. So it's not going to work for me. But here, guys, this is the power of Photoshop. Okay, so this could very well work. It gives you some info on it. This was taken on a Canon EOS 40D, f5.6. The flash did not fire. It was a 200 ISO. Over here, we can download it. Okay, and we can download the original size, 3888. Let's do a little math. Let's do it in our head, right? 3,800 divided by 300, right? So that's 38 divided by 3. So that's approximately going to come out to a little under 13 inches wide by 25. Let's call it 26 divided by 3 is going to be a little more than 8 tall, like 8.5 tall, right? So, so a little under 13 by 8.5. That's how this thing's going to end up shaking out. And this can be a way to get some photos too, right? So what I want you to do is this. I want you to use stock photography when you need to. What I don't want you to do, for my class purposes, and really if you're going to be a real designer, do not use stock vectors. Make your own, okay? If you're going to be a videographer, right, and you need some stock video to edit and you just can't get it, okay, get some stock video. But if you're going to shoot video, go shoot your own, right? Control it. Because the downside to stock is that you can't control it, right? Like, what if you wanted that camel to like just kind of face us a little bit more, right? And that guy, he's facing us, but he looks mad, right? You want a happier camel. And, it's just like you love that camel. He's just not looking at us, right? So the thing is that's one of the things you throw away with stock. For my projects moving forward, I want you to use no more than 20% of stock in a full project. And, I don't have a special scale, but I can take a look at things and recognize when they're not yours and you've just basically downloaded a bunch of things and you've photoshopped it together. That's not going to work, right, for the projects. And you really don't want that in a portfolio either. Another rule of thumb is don't let the stock image be the star of your overall image, right? It should be a secondary or a tertiary player, right? It is not the emphasis point. It cannot be that focal point. It's got to just be something in the background. And it should just be things that you can't get. Like, again, I do not have a camel in my backyard. Therefore, you know what? I can't. If I need a picture of a camel, I got to go with stock. But, like a tree, specifically a pine tree, wow, there's tons of them in the Adirondacks. I can go find one of those without issue, right? So when you're utilizing stock, just kind of think of those simple rules and you'll be surprised with what you can find out there. And there's more than I just showed you. I just showed you a handful, right? There's so many more places. If you have, if you think about, trying to create something for a portfolio and you got to pay $5 for an image, and that portfolio project, is going to be awesome with that image versus paying nothing and having a much lesser, final product. Pay the $5, don't drink the Starbucks that week. That's all. And it's going to be worth it in the end because that'll make your portfolio stronger. It truly will. The one thing I would also recommend is this: everything you download, keep a record of where it came from, who you got it from, and make sure that you're giving credit where credit is due. Don't call this stuff your own because it's not, right? You should let people know where it came from, especially if you're ever on an interview and somebody asks you like, hey, where'd you get that picture of the camel? You could tell them exactly where you got it. They're going to respect you a whole lot more rather than you're like, oh, I downloaded it from the internet somewhere, right? And you got to make sure people understand that too, that people know that you download things from the internet the right way. You're doing things the way you should. Lastly, I guess the last thing that I have to tell you is this. I'm a big fat liar because while I don't have a camel in my backyard, I do have pictures of camels. In fact, I have a lot of pictures of camels. I also have pictures of things like peacocks and tigers and elephants and tortoises and horses and bugs and butterflies and, all sorts of stuff. Anytime I go to a zoo, I bring, not my cell phone camera, but I bring my D90 or my D7000, and I take shots, and I take stock shots. And why do I take them? And not because I want to sell them. I'm really not in the market to do that, but I do it so I have my own library again. So then that way I can control what's going on. I can control the resolution. I can control how that animal is looking at me, and then I don't have to spend the $5 or the $575. I don't have to spend that either. So that's just kind of a piece of advice that somebody gave me 20 years ago, and I've done it ever since. Even if you're not a photographer, as a graphic designer and a graphic artist, just collect that stuff. It's not going to go bad. Trust me. It's going to help you out in the long run. If you have those things at your fingertips, all you got to do is look for them in a file or something like that. You're going to appreciate that a lot more than, spending an hour and a half trying to find that quote unquote perfect picture. And then eventually you just settle on one. So, go ahead and, just carry a camera with you and, take pictures of things that, you're going to need someday. Like I have pictures of the skylines of New York and Boston. I also have the ocean at Cape Cod, and I have gone up on a hot air balloon, and I've taken big overarching landscape images. Anytime you have the opportunity to take photographs, it doesn't matter if you're not a photographer or not, because I don't consider myself to be a photographer. I consider myself to be a Photoshop photographer because I know what I can do in Photoshop and I know what I can't. But I just want all my own stock whenever I can have it. That's really what I want. So think of that as you move forward, and it'll serve you well. So as we go and we do projects, if you need to use stock photography, there's a bunch of places out there. Use it. Again, do not use vectors. You can make those yourself. When you're using the stock images, just don't abuse it, and you'll be perfectly fine. All right. See you next video.